perhaps I can start with you. I'm guessing most people have a pretty good idea about the central concept of Snowpiercer, but just in case there are a few that don't, maybe you could fill us in a little bit on that.
Sure. Hi, everybody. It's great to see you all. We can't believe there's so many of you here. Snowpiercer is, of course, based on a series of French graphic novels. And then there was a tremendous feature film by director Bong that I personally like. So Snowpiercer is essentially set, our Snowpiercer is set 7 years after the end of the world, which was tragically hastened when human beings in all their wisdom tried to correct climate change and plunge the world into an ice age. So 7 years on, the survivors of humanity have packed onto the train run by these fine actors.
I mean, obviously the film was a pretty short, self-contained enterprise, and you're and even with the graphic novels, it's somewhat limited. But here you're developing a show that you hope to run at least for several seasons. What are the kind of challenges with that, with regards to everything being on the same train and so on?
At least 7 seasons. Okay. We can do that. The train itself and the difference between the show and the movie really is that movie was such a terrific adventure story that started in the tail and it charged completely linearly up to the engine, and the TV show, as we've got to spend a lot more time in all of these classes and all of these worlds. So we start our drama, our heart is with the tail, but we spend time in every single class, so we understand everybody. We understand first class, we understand second class, the workers, third, the politics of the train, and that's where the juice comes from.
And you, David, what attracted you to this?
Yeah, I mean, I love the story, and I love the potential to see ourselves in something. I think the sort of linear structure and the metaphor of a train and talking about class allows us to sort of remove some of the complications in talking about it when we can set it on a line. It's like looking at a chart instead of reading the statistics, right? The class is charted out for you in a straight line. And that allows us to get beyond the sort of numbers and facts of it and talk about the heart of the thing. So that was sort of what attracted me to the project, but then ended up meeting all of these great friends and getting to spend so much time together. And I think, Jennifer nailed it. TV is like a living document, it adapts as you adapt. So as we learn more about ourselves and the writers learn more about us, and everybody's in conversation all the time. And sometimes it's really, really hard, but also it's an incredible kind of collaboration that you don't really get anywhere else.
And I mean, this was shown in Vancouver, you were up there for quite a long time. I guess this is a question for everyone. What did you do? When you were socializing, I mean, it's actually, at times quite a big cast. When you were socializing, did you fall into like class groups, or did you all just sort of like hang out generally?
Yeah, I don't kick it with anyone from first class. That's some traitor shit. I don't do nothing about that.
It's also quite different, like on the train, because you do have the tail, right? It's 1,000 trains, and even if you're not, some of us never left the tail, which is much more claustrophobic and.
You've been complaining about this all day, bro.
But then even when you would just wander around the sets, even if you maybe weren't supposed to, and you would see the first class, it's quite different. I mean, I remember the dining car when I somehow snuck around that one, and I was like, oh my God, they have a staircase, and they have all of this, and some of those other, like one of my favorite rooms was like an art installation. There's just so many amazing places.
Well, I remember the director saying that he wanted, the tail to be really dirty, and I remember thinking, well, it's okay for you, Mr. Director, behind the camera, but what about the cast?
Well, the tail is filthy. But that's one of the wonderful things about the movie. If you remember in the movie, you could open a door and you never knew what was going to be in the next car. And we really wanted to keep that sense in the show. So I think that's part of the joy of discovering the train. A lot of it through David's character is what's the expression you do?
You know that expression?
I just saved you 10 episodes.
That's kind of the show right there.
The Emmy reel is just that.
That's it. It's literally 30 angles.
That's what he did for his audition too, I heard.
So much training.
You were involved in some action sequences. Could you talk about that a little?
My dream job was this job because I got to be super physical, and Graeme had me kicking ass, and got to train with our amazing stunt coordinator Brad Chan and like the whole stunt team, and they trained us so amazingly well, and it was just so fun, and got to box and axe. I used an axe. Axe, yeah. I really am quite lethal with an axe.
Ask. I learned that later in life too.
That's right.
Because one of the things about Snowpiercer is there is no guns, or there are very few guns on Snowpiercer, so all the fighting is really hand-to-hand and really claustrophobic because you're on a train, so there's a lot of fighting.
A lot of fighting, bro. There were days where it was just like, I cannot kill somebody else today. Like, it's like a lot of wears on your soul after a while. Killing that many people with your bare hands.
Our sets are really quite amazing. Our sets, we can link 5 train cars up together and you can walk all the way down it. We've had to blow out a whole wall in the studio so that 5 train cars could have the length. And then the train cars are all jostling because there's big grips like shaking the car. So these guys are trying to walk and everybody's doing this as they're walking down the train. And you can actually like bend the tail too, like some guys on a forklift like pushing it this way and that way. So you look down the thing and you can see, like when you're riding one of those long subways, it's really like the feeling of making sure that this was a train was really important, and it permeates, I think, the whole production.
Well, I should say that, as I said, I had the pleasure of going on set up in Vancouver, and the sets really are incredible. But the strange thing is that while all the train sets are very, very different, they are also in a strange way similar, because it's the same space. And I spent a lot of time seeing cast members sort of hopelessly wandering around because they were, the sets would have moved, and they were. And I remember David, you saying that basically when you wanted to go to lunch, you would choose a random door and just hope to hell it was in the right direction.
Yeah, just point yourself in a direction and walk until you get outside, and then reassess your life at that point. But one more point into what Graeme was talking about, just because it's kind of the most incredible bit of like movie magic. When you're inside of the train, this is the most real feeling, like intense thing ever. And then cut, and you walk outside, and there's just like 4 huge dudes on a seesaw, making it go. I love how practical that is. It's amazing.
And they're all going, he was only in one play, I don't know why they said that.